Across the vast expanse of the cosmos, the cosmic nobles reigned supreme. This elite class of extraterrestrial beings commanded immense power, ruling over a sprawling interstellar empire that spanned countless star systems and alien civilizations. At the heart of their domain stood the Celestial Citadel, a colossal space station that served as the seat of the nobles' authority. Here, the most influential members of their society gathered to deliberate on matters of galactic importance, their every decision carrying the weight of law throughout the far-flung reaches of their domain. The cosmic nobles were a proud and haughty race, their sense of superiority deeply ingrained within their collective psyche. They viewed themselves as the rightful inheritors of the stars, destined to bring order and civilization to the chaotic void of space. All other intelligent species were seen as inferior, mere stepping stones on the path to the nobles' ultimate vision of a unified, harmonious galaxy. Earth and its inhabitants were no exception to this arrogant worldview. The primitives of the third planet from the sun were regarded with a mixture of disdain and indifference by the cosmic nobles. Their limited technological capabilities, their fleeting lifespans, and their petty squabbles were all clear indicators, in the nobles' eyes, of humanity's ultimate insignificance. It was with this dismissive attitude that the cosmic nobles received news of a human representative being summoned to the Celestial Citadel. Such a summons was a rare occurrence, reserved only for matters of the utmost importance. The nobles whispered among themselves, speculating on the reason behind this unusual invitation. What could this lowly human possibly have to say that would be of any consequence to us? Scoffed Psyloth, a high-ranking cosmic noble known for his acerbic wit and disdain for lesser civilizations. Likely some trivial complaint or request for aid, sneered Valthrex, Psyloth's closest confidant, as if we would deign to waste our time on the concerns of primitives. The other nobles in the ornate audience chamber nodded in agreement, their features contorted in expressions of amused disdain. The arrival of the human representative was sure to be a most entertaining diversion from the weighty matters that typically occupied their time. When the grand doors to the chamber finally parted, revealing the lone human figure that strode forth, the cosmic nobles could barely contain their laughter. The being before them was hardly an imposing sight. A relatively short male with a lean, muscular build, his features unremarkable save for a steely glint in his eyes that belied an inner strength. Psyloth leaned back in his ornate throne, his lips curling into a condescending smile. So this is the emissary from the backwater world of Earth. I must say, I was expecting someone a bit more impressive. The human remained unfazed by the noble's derision, his gaze sweeping across the towering figures that surrounded him. He knew full well that he was entering a den of lions, but he had come too far to be cowed by their arrogance. "Greetings, esteemed cosmic nobles," the human said, his voice clear and unwavering. "I have been sent here to represent the interests of my people, the humans of Earth." Valthrex let out a derisive snort. "And what interests could your primitive species possibly have that would warrant the attention of the cosmic nobles?" The human took a deep breath, steeling himself for the confrontation to come. "We seek to join your interstellar alliance, to forge diplomatic and trade ties with the great civilizations that span the cosmos." He paused, his gaze hardening. "We believe that humanity has much to offer the galactic community." The chamber erupted in a chorus of laughter, the cosmic nobles clearly amused by the human's audacity. Psyloth raised a hand, silencing his peers with a subtle gesture. "You presume much, human," the noble said, his tone dripping with condescension. "The cosmic nobles have no need for the likes of your kind. Your species is but a speck in the grand tapestry of the universe, primitive, short-lived, and woefully unable to contribute anything of value to our advanced civilization." The human's jaw tightened, but he refused to be cowed by the noble's dismissive attitude. "That may be your assessment, but I can assure you that humanity is far more capable than you realize. We have faced great challenges and overcome them through our ingenuity and determination. Given the chance, we could be a valuable ally to the cosmic nobles." Psyloth's eyes narrowed, a glimmer of irritation flickering across his features. Ally? You presume to speak of such a thing as if you were our equal. No, human, you and your kind will remain on your insignificant little world, content to scurry about in the shadows of our greatness." The other nobles murmured in agreement, their expressions a mix of amusement and disdain. The human knew that he was fighting an uphill battle, but he was not about to give up without a fight. "Then perhaps," the human said, his voice rising in defiance, "you would be willing to put your words to the test. Allow me to compete in a series of challenges to demonstrate the true capabilities of humanity. If I succeed, you will be forced to reconsider your stance towards my people." Xyloth's lips curled into a cruel smile. "Very well, human. If you are so eager to prove yourself, we shall oblige you. But be warned, the cosmic nobles do not take kindly to failure." With that, the stage was set for a confrontation that would shake the very foundations of the cosmic nobles' arrogance and forever change the course of human history. The cosmic nobles' laughter echoed through the grand audience chamber as they contemplated the humans' audacious proposal. The very idea that this insignificant being from a backwater world could ever hope to compete with the near-superhuman abilities of the nobles was utterly absurd. Yet there was a glimmer of intrigue in Xyloth's cold, calculating gaze. The high-ranking noble could not help but feel a twinge of curiosity about the human's confident, defiant demeanor. Perhaps there was more to this emissary than met the eye. "Very well, human," Xyloth said, his voice dripping with condescension. "If you are so eager to prove the worth of your primitive species, we shall grant you that opportunity. You will compete in a series of challenges, each designed to test the limits of your physical and mental capabilities. If you manage to surpass our expectations, then we shall be forced to reconsider our stance towards your kind." The human warrior nodded, his expression resolute. "I accept your terms, cosmic noble. I have faith in the strength and ingenuity of my people, and I will not back down from this challenge." Xyloth's lips curled into a cruel smile. "We shall see about that, human. The trials that await you are unlike anything you have ever experienced. They will push you to the very limits of your endurance, both physical and mental." The other nobles murmured in agreement, their eyes gleaming with a mixture of amusement and anticipation. They could scarcely wait to witness the human's inevitable downfall. Without further ado, the first challenge was set in motion. The human warrior was led to a vast, gravity-defying arena, where he would be pitted against the nobles' finest warriors in a test of raw physical prowess. As the human stepped onto the arena floor, he could feel the weight of the nobles' disdainful gazes upon him. They clearly viewed this as nothing more than a chance to humiliate the primitive human and reaffirm their own superiority. The first challenger, a towering cosmic noble with rippling muscles and a predatory gleam in his eyes, stepped forward. The human braced himself, knowing that he would have to draw upon every ounce of his strength and skill to emerge victorious. The battle was fierce and unrelenting, a dizzying display of acrobatic feats and devastating blows. The nobles watched with a mix of surprise and growing unease as the human warrior more than held his own against his formidable opponent. Time and time again, the human would evade a crushing strike or counter a powerful maneuver, his movements fluid and graceful, his mind sharp and focused. The cosmic noble's frustration mounted as he realized that his usual overwhelming physical advantage was being neutralized by the human's sheer determination and adaptability. Finally, with a well-timed feint and a devastating elbow strike, the human warrior managed to topple his gargantuan foe, drawing gasps of astonishment from the watching nobles. Xyloth's brow furrowed as he watched the human warrior help his vanquished opponent to his feet, a gesture of respect that seemed at odds with the noble's own ruthless and unyielding nature. "Impressive," the noble conceded, his voice laced with a hint of begrudging admiration. "It would appear that you possess a level of skill that is unexpected for one of your kind." The human warrior inclined his head, a faint smile playing on his lips. "I told you, cosmic noble, that humanity has much to offer. This is merely the beginning." Xyloth's eyes narrowed, his curiosity now tinged with a growing sense of unease. "Very well. You have passed the first trial. However, the challenges that await you will only grow more demanding. I hope you are prepared to push the limits of your meager capabilities." With a wave of his hand, Psylocke signaled for the next challenge to commence. The human warrior steeled himself, his gaze fixed on the path ahead. He knew that the true test of his mettle had only just begun. As the cosmic nobles watched, their initial amusement slowly giving way to a mixture of grudging respect and unease, the human warrior proved time and again that he was no ordinary primitive. With each successive challenge, he displayed a level of skill, resilience, and adaptability that shattered the nobles' preconceived notions about the capabilities of his species. The cosmic court had become the stage for a battle of wits and physical prowess, one that would ultimately determine the fate of humanity's place in the galactic community. And the human warrior, driven by a deep-rooted determination to prove the worth of his people, was more than ready to rise to the occasion. As the challenges continued, the human warrior's performance only grew more impressive, much to the mounting consternation of the cosmic nobles. Time and again, he displayed feats of strength, agility, and strategic brilliance that left the haughty extraterrestrials utterly baffled. In a test of endurance, the human pushed his body to the limits, running tirelessly on a treadmill-like device that simulated the harshest environments imaginable. While the nobles' own representatives faltered and succumbed to the punishing conditions, the human warrior maintained a steady pace, his determination unwavering. When it came to a battle of wits, the human proved equally adept, easily navigating complex logic puzzles and problem-solving challenges that had stumped even the most brilliant cosmic noble minds. His quick thinking and innovative approach left the nobles increasingly frustrated, their smug confidence slowly chipping away. Psylocke, the most vocal of the nobles, found himself growing increasingly unsettled by the human's performance. He had been certain that the primitive earthling would quickly be humbled. Yet here he stood, defying every expectation and pushing the limits of his supposed meager capabilities. "This is impossible," the noble exclaimed, his usually composed demeanor cracking under the strain. "How can a mere human possess such skill and resilience? There must be some trickery at play." Valthrix, Psylocke's closest confidant, placed a placating hand on his friend's shoulder. "Calm yourself, Psylocke. Perhaps we have simply underestimated the capabilities of this particular human. After all, he is the emissary chosen to represent his species." Psylocke's lips twisted into a scowl. "Underestimated? Impossible. The cosmic nobles do not make such mistakes. This human must be some sort of anomaly, an outlier among his kind." The other nobles murmured in agreement, their expressions a mix of confusion and growing unease. They had come to this challenge expecting a quick and decisive victory, a chance to assert their superiority over the primitive humans once and for all. But the human warrior's performance had shattered those expectations, leaving them grasping for explanations. As the final challenge approached, the tension in the cosmic court was palpable. The nobles knew that they could no longer afford to dismiss the human's capabilities, and they were determined to devise a test that would finally expose his weaknesses. The challenge was one of strategy and tactical prowess. The human warrior would be pitted against the nobles' finest military commanders in a simulated battle scenario. Victory would hinge on the ability to outmaneuver one's opponents and seize control of key objectives. From the outset, the nobles were confident that this would be the humans' downfall. Their military tactics and advanced technology were the result of millennia of experience and refinement. Surely, no earthling could hope to match such refined skill. Yet, as the simulation unfolded, the human warrior's strategic brilliance became increasingly evident. He deftly outmaneuvered his opponents, anticipating their moves and exploiting their weaknesses with a level of insight that left the nobles aghast. Psylocke watched, his knuckles whitening as he gripped the armrests of his throne, his face contorted in a mask of growing rage and disbelief. "Impossible. This human cannot be besting our most seasoned commanders. There must be some flaw in the simulation, some glitch that is skewing the results. Valthrix placed a hand on his friend's arm, his own expression betraying a hint of unease. I do not believe that is the case. Tyloff. The human is simply outperforming our expectations at every turn. We may have to confront the reality that our assumptions about the capabilities of his kind were flawed. Psylloth's eyes narrowed, his pride refusing to accept such a humiliating possibility. No, Valthrix. There is no way a primitive earthling could best the cosmic nobles at our own game. This must be some form of deception, a trick designed to undermine our authority. As the simulation reached its climactic conclusion, the human warrior emerged victorious, his brilliant tactical maneuvers securing the decisive win. The cosmic nobles could only watch in stunned silence, their carefully constructed notions of superiority crumbling before their eyes. For the first time, the haughty Psylloth found himself at a loss for words, his usual condescending bravado replaced by a growing sense of uncertainty and disbelief. The human had not only met their challenges but had surpassed them, shattering the noble's long-held assumptions about the limitations of his species. In that moment, a realization dawned upon the cosmic court. The primitive earthling standing before them was no mere anomaly, but a testament to the true potential of humanity. And with that revelation came a dawning sense of unease, for if this human could accomplish such feats, what else might his kind be capable of? The future, it seemed, was no longer as certain as the cosmic nobles had once believed. As the human warrior's impressive performance continued to defy the cosmic nobles' expectations, the tension within the grand audience chamber palpably escalated. The haughty extraterrestrials found their carefully cultivated sense of superiority crumbling in the face of this primitive earthling's undeniable capabilities. Psylloth, the most vocal and dismissive of the nobles, seethed with a mixture of frustration and disbelief. His usual condescending demeanor had been shattered, replaced by a growing sense of unease and uncertainty. "This is impossible," the noble exclaimed, his voice laced with a hint of desperation. "There is no way a mere human could possess such skill and intellect. This must be some form of trickery or deception." Valthrix, Psylloth's closest confidant, placed a placating hand on his friend's arm, his own expression betraying a measure of unease. "Calm yourself, Psylloth. Perhaps we have simply underestimated the potential of this particular human representative. After all, he was chosen to embody the abilities of his species." Psylloth's lips twisted into a scowl, his pride refusing to accept such a humiliating possibility. Underestimated. Impossible. The cosmic nobles do not make such mistakes. This human must be an anomaly, an outlier among his kind. The other nobles, sensing their peers' growing distress, murmured in agreement, their brows furrowed in a mix of confusion and discomfort. They had come to this challenge expecting a quick and decisive victory, a chance to reassert their superiority over the primitive humans once and for all. But the human warrior's performance had shattered those expectations, leaving them grasping for explanations. As the final challenge approached, the cosmic nobles knew that they could no longer afford to dismiss the human's capabilities. They were determined to devise a test that would finally expose his weaknesses and restore their wounded pride. The challenge was one of strategic and tactical prowess. The human warrior would be pitted against the noble's finest military commanders in a simulated battle scenario. Victory would hinge on the ability to outmaneuver one's opponents and seize control of key objectives. From the outset, the nobles were confident that this would be the human's downfall. Their military tactics and advanced technology were the result of millennia of experience and refinement. Surely, no earthling could hope to match such refined skill. Yet, as the simulation unfolded, the human warrior's strategic brilliance became increasingly evident. He deftly outmaneuvered his opponents, anticipating their moves and exploiting their weaknesses with a level of insight that left the nobles aghast. Psylloth watched, his knuckles whitening as he gripped the armrests of his throne, his face contorted in a mask of growing rage and disbelief. "Impossible. This human cannot be besting our most seasoned commanders. There must be some flaw in the simulation, some glitch that is skewing the results. Valthrex placed a hand on his friend's arm, his own expression betraying a hint of unease. I do not believe that is the case. Tyloth. The human is simply outperforming our expectations at every turn. We may have to confront the reality that our assumptions about the capabilities of his kind were flawed. Xyloth's eyes narrowed, his pride refusing to accept such a humiliating possibility. No, Valthrex. There is no way a primitive earthling could best the cosmic nobles at our own game. This must be some form of deception, a trick designed to undermine our authority. As the simulation reached its climactic conclusion, the human warrior emerged victorious, his brilliant tactical maneuvers securing a decisive win. The cosmic nobles could only watch in stunned silence, their carefully constructed notions of superiority crumbling before their eyes. For the first time, the haughty Xyloth found himself at a loss for words, his usual condescending bravado replaced by a growing sense of uncertainty and disbelief. The human had not only met their challenges but had surpassed them, shattering the noble's long-held assumptions about the limitations of his species. In that moment, a realization dawned upon the cosmic court. The primitive earthling standing before them was no mere anomaly, but a testament to the true potential of humanity. And with that revelation came a dawning sense of unease, for if this human could accomplish such feats, what else might his kind be capable of? The future, it seemed, was no longer as certain as the cosmic nobles had once believed. Sensing the shift in the atmosphere, the human warrior stood tall, his gaze unwavering. He knew that he had shattered the nobles' preconceptions, and that their pride would not allow them to accept this reality gracefully. The true challenge now lay in navigating the delicate political landscape and convincing the cosmic nobles to reconsider their stance towards humanity. As the final challenge concluded, Tyloth rose from his throne, his features etched with a mixture of grudging respect and barely contained fury. You have proven yourself, human. Your people's capabilities are more impressive than we had anticipated. The noble paused, his eyes narrowing as he regarded the human warrior with a calculating gaze. However, do not think that this means we will simply welcome you and your kind into our alliance. The cosmic nobles do not take kindly to those who would seek to challenge our authority. The human warrior nodded, understanding the unspoken threat behind Xyloth's words. I am aware of your concerns, cosmic noble, but I hope that through further cooperation and understanding, we can find a way for our peoples to coexist and thrive, side by side. Xyloth's lips thinned into a tight-lipped expression, his gaze flitting briefly to his fellow nobles, who watched the exchange with a mixture of unease and begrudging respect. We shall see, human. For now, you have piqued our interest. The cosmic court will deliberate on your proposal. With a dismissive wave of his hand, Tyloth signaled the end of the proceedings, leaving the human warrior to ponder the uncertain future that lay ahead. As the human warrior stood before the cosmic nobles, the tension in the grand audience chamber was palpable. The haughty extraterrestrials had been forced to reevaluate their long-held assumptions about the capabilities of humanity, and their wounded pride had left them grasping for a way to regain the upper hand. Xyloth, the most vocal and disdainful of the nobles, had been particularly rattled by the human's impressive performance. His usual condescending demeanor had been shattered, replaced by a growing sense of unease and uncertainty. The noble rose from his ornate throne, his features etched with a mixture of grudging respect and barely contained fury. You have proven yourself, human. Your people's capabilities are more impressive than we had anticipated. Xyloth paused, his eyes narrowing as he regarded the human warrior with a calculating gaze. However, do not think that this means we will simply welcome you and your kind into our alliance. The cosmic nobles do not take kindly to those who would seek to challenge our authority. The human warrior nodded, understanding the unspoken threat behind Xyloth's words. I am aware of your concerns, cosmic noble, but I hope that through further cooperation and understanding, we can find a way for our peoples to coexist and thrive, side by side. Xyloth's lips thinned into a tight-lipped expression, his gaze flitting briefly to his fellow nobles, who watched the exchange with a mixture of unease and begrudging respect. "We shall see, human. For now, you have piqued our interest. The Cosmic Court will deliberate on your proposal." With a dismissive wave of his hand, Xyloth signaled the end of the proceedings, leaving the human warrior to ponder the uncertain future that lay ahead. As the cosmic nobles retreated to their private chambers, their discussion grew heated and fractious. While some were willing to at least consider the possibility of forging an alliance with the humans, others, like Xyloth, remained steadfastly opposed to the idea. "This is madness." Xyloth spat, his fist slamming against the polished surface of the table. "How can we even entertain the notion of allowing these primitives into our alliance? They are nothing more than upstarts, seeking to undermine our rightful authority." Valthrix, ever the voice of reason, placed a calming hand on his friend's arm. "Xyloth, you must see reason. The human's performance has proven that his kind possess capabilities that we have long underestimated. Perhaps it would be in our best interest to at least consider the possibility of an alliance." Xyloth's eyes narrowed, his features twisted in a mask of resentment. "An alliance? With these Earthlings. Absurd. Their inclusion would only serve to weaken our position, to dilute the purity of our cosmic nobility." The other nobles exchanged uneasy glances, their expressions reflecting the internal conflict that raged within the chamber. While they too were hesitant to fully embrace the idea of a human presence in their hallowed halls, the undeniable skills displayed by the warrior had left them with a growing sense of unease. "Perhaps we should not be so quick to dismiss the potential benefits of an alliance," one of the nobles, Zara, spoke up tentatively. "The human's tactical prowess and resourcefulness could prove invaluable in the face of future challenges, and the technological innovations of this kind may even enhance our own capabilities." Xyloth's gaze snapped towards Zora, his lips curling in a contemptuous sneer. "Ah, so the great Zara has been swayed by the human's meager accomplishments. I should have known you would be the first to capitulate to these upstarts." Zora bristled, her own pride refusing to back down in the face of Xyloth's scathing derision. "I am merely suggesting that we consider all the possibilities. Xyloth, our position of power is not so secure that we can afford to dismiss potential allies out of hand." The heated debate continued, with the cosmic nobles torn between their ingrained sense of superiority and the growing realization that they may have misjudged the capabilities of the human race. As the discussion reached a fevered pitch, a startling revelation came to light, one that would upend the very foundations of the nobles' authority. It was Valthrix, Xyloth's ever-loyal confidant, who spoke the words that sent a shockwave through the cosmic court. "Xyloth, I fear we may have been deceived." Xyloth's brow furrowed in confusion, his anger momentarily giving way to bewilderment. "Deceived? What do you mean, Valthrix?" Valthrix's gaze fell to the table, his expression tainted with a hint of shame. "The challenges, they were not meant to be fair tests of skill and capability. We have been manipulating the outcomes to ensure the human's failure." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of outraged shouts and disbelieving murmurs as the cosmic nobles grappled with the implications of Valthrix's startling admission. Xyloth's face contorted in a mask of fury, his fist slamming against the table with enough force to crack the polished surface. "You underscore what underscore?" The noble roared, his voice reverberating through the chamber. "How dare you undermine the authority of the cosmic nobles in such a way?" Valthrix raised a placating hand, his usually stoic demeanor betraying a glimmer of fear. "Xyloth, please, you must understand. We were only trying to protect the integrity of our alliance, to prevent the inclusion of these primitives. Xyloth's eyes narrowed, his gaze sweeping across the other nobles, who now regarded him with a mixture of apprehension and unease. "You all knew of this deception," he hissed, his voice dripping with venom. As the truth of the nobles' machinations came to light, the human warrior stood silently, his expression impassive. But inside, a fire burned, fueled by a righteous anger and a determination to see justice done. For if the cosmic nobles had resorted to such underhanded tactics, then they had forfeited any claim to moral superiority. The stage was now set for a final, decisive confrontation, one that would determine the fate of not just the human warrior, but the very future of the cosmic nobles' domain. As the truth of the cosmic nobles' deception came to light, the chamber descended into a maelstrom of outraged shouts and heated accusations. Xyloth, the most vocal and disdainful of the nobles, stood at the center of the storm, his features contorted in a mask of unbridled fury. You_all_ knew of this treachery. The noble roared, his voice reverberating through the grand audience hall. How dare you undermine the authority of the cosmic nobles in such a flagrant manner? Valthrix, Xyloth's ever-loyal confidant, raised a placating hand, his usually stoic demeanor betraying a hint of trepidation. Xyloth, please, you must understand. We were only trying to protect the integrity of our alliance, to prevent the inclusion of these _primitives_. The other nobles exchanged uneasy glances, their expressions a mix of apprehension and begrudging shame. They had all been complicit in the deception, driven by their ingrained sense of superiority and a deep-rooted fear of the unknown. But as the human warrior stood silently, his gaze unwavering, a dawning realization began to take hold. They had not only undermined their own principles of fairness and honor, but they had also underestimated the resolve and determination of the primitive earthling. Xyloth's fist slammed against the polished surface of the table, the impact sending tremors through the chamber. Enough of this treachery, the noble bellowed. The cosmic nobles will not be made fools of, especially not by some lowly human upstart. The human warrior stepped forward, his posture calm and poised, despite the volatile atmosphere that surrounded him. I must commend you, cosmic nobles, on your remarkable ability to deceive and manipulate. It seems that your own arrogance and fear have led you to betray the very principles you claim to uphold. Xyloth's eyes narrowed, his lips curling into a sneer. Principles? You speak of principles, _human_. The cosmic nobles answer to no one, least of all to the likes of you and your kind. Then perhaps, the human warrior said, his voice steady and resolute, it is time we put an end to this charade and engage in a true test of our capabilities. No tricks, no deception, just a fair and honest competition. Xyloth's brow furrowed, his curiosity momentarily piqued despite his lingering disdain. And what, pray tell, did you have in mind? The human warrior's gaze swept across the chamber, meeting the uneasy stares of the cosmic nobles one by one. A final showdown. Xyloth, you and I, in a winner-takes-all challenge, with no interference from your fellow nobles. If I emerge victorious, then you will be forced to reconsider your stance towards my people and the possibility of an alliance. Xyloth's lips curled into a cruel smile, his pride refusing to back down from such a bold challenge. Very well, human. If you are so eager to be humbled, then I shall grant you that opportunity. But be warned, the might of the cosmic nobles is not something to be trifled with. The other nobles murmured in agreement, their expressions a mix of apprehension and anticipation. They knew that the stakes had been raised, and that the outcome of this final confrontation would have far-reaching consequences for the future of their domain. As the human warrior and Xyloth prepared for their decisive battle, the tension in the chamber reached a fever pitch. Both combatants knew that this was no mere test of physical prowess or tactical acumen. It was a clash of ideologies, a struggle for the very soul of the cosmic noble's empire. The human warrior steeled himself, his mind racing as he contemplated the myriad of ways the confrontation could unfold. He knew that Xyloth would be a formidable opponent, driven by a lifetime of experience and the unwavering confidence of a cosmic noble. But the human also knew that he had something that the nobles could never truly possess, a deep-rooted determination to prove the worth of his people and a willingness to push the boundaries of his own capabilities. As the signal was given, the two combatants launched themselves at each other, their movements a blur of calculated strikes and deftly executed maneuvers. The cosmic nobles watched with bated breath, their usual haughty demeanor replaced by a mixture of fascination and trepidation. The battle raged on, each competitor pushing the other to their limits, neither willing to concede an inch. Sweat poured down their brows, their breathing ragged, but their resolve never wavered. In the end, it was the human warrior who emerged victorious, his final devastating blow leaving Scyloth sprawled on the ground, the noble's features etched with a blend of shock and grudging respect. The chamber fell silent, the cosmic noble's eyes widening in disbelief as they witnessed the unthinkable. A human had bested one of their own in a test of pure might and skill. Scyloth struggled to his feet, his pride visibly wounded, but the fire in his eyes had not been extinguished. This is not possible. The noble breathed, his gaze fixed on the human warrior. How could a mere earthling triumph over a cosmic noble? The human warrior stepped forward, his expression solemn. I am no mere earthling, Scyloth. I am a representative of a people who have faced great challenges and overcome them through our ingenuity and determination. And now, the cosmic nobles must reckon with the true strength of humanity. The words hung in the air, their weight pressing down on the nobles' collective consciousness. For in that moment, they knew that the future they had so carefully crafted was no longer certain, and that the primitive humans they had so long dismissed were poised to reshape the very foundations of the galactic order. As the human warrior stood victorious over the fallen cosmic noble, a profound silence settled over the grand audience chamber. The haughty extraterrestrials, whose arrogance and sense of superiority had been the driving force behind their rule, now found themselves grappling with a reality that shattered their carefully constructed worldview. Scyloth, his pride visibly wounded, struggled to his feet, his features etched with a blend of shock and begrudging respect. This is not possible. The noble breathed, his gaze fixed on the human warrior. How could a mere earthling triumph over a cosmic noble? The human warrior stepped forward, his expression solemn. I am no mere earthling, Scyloth. I am a representative of a people who have faced great challenges and overcome them through our ingenuity and determination. And now, the cosmic nobles must reckon with the true strength of humanity. The words hung in the air, their weight pressing down on the nobles' collective consciousness. For in that moment, they knew that the future they had so carefully crafted was no longer certain, and that the primitive humans they had so long dismissed were poised to reshape the very foundations of the galactic order. Scyloth's lips thinned into a tight-lipped expression, his pride refusing to accept the implications of his defeat. Impossible. This must be some form of trickery, a ploy to undermine the authority of the cosmic nobles. The human warrior shook his head, his gaze unwavering. There is no trickery here, Scyloth. I have bested you and your fellow nobles through sheer skill and determination, qualities that you have long underestimated in my people. Valthrex, Scyloth's ever-loyal confidant, stepped forward, his expression grave. Then we must reconsider our stance towards the humans. Their capabilities have proven to be far more formidable than we had anticipated. Scyloth's eyes narrowed, his jaw clenching in defiance. Reconsider? Valthrex, you cannot be serious. The cosmic nobles do not simply capitulate to the demands of lesser civilizations, no matter how impressive their capabilities may be. The other nobles exchanged uneasy glances, their own doubts and fears beginning to surface. They had built their empire on the foundation of their perceived superiority, and the thought of opening their ranks to a species they had so long dismissed was a bitter pill to swallow. But as the human warrior's legend continued to spread, even the most skeptical of the nobles found themselves reconsidering their position. For if this single individual could accomplish such feats, what might the rest of humanity be capable of? Slowly, the tide began to turn within the cosmic court. Zara, the once hesitant noble, now emerged as a vocal advocate for forging an alliance with the humans. Can we truly afford to dismiss the potential of this species, Tyloth? Their ingenuity and resilience have proven to be a match for our own, and their inclusion in our alliance could strengthen us in ways we have yet to imagine. Tyloth's features contorted in a mask of fury, his pride refusing to concede even an inch. Strength? You speak of strength, Zara. The cosmic nobles have stood as the dominant force in the galaxy for millennia. We do not need underscore the support of some backwater civilization to maintain our power. But as the debates raged on, it became increasingly clear that Tyloth's position was becoming increasingly untenable. The other nobles, while still wary of the implications, had begun to see the potential benefits of embracing the humans as allies. Finally, after days of heated deliberation, the cosmic court reached a decision. Tyloth, his face etched with a mixture of resignation and resentment, stood before the human warrior, his words laced with a begrudging respect. It is with great reluctance that I inform you, human, that the cosmic nobles have agreed to extend a diplomatic invitation to your people. We will consider the possibility of forging an alliance, provided that certain conditions are met. The human warrior inclined his head, his expression neutral. I appreciate your willingness to reconsider, cosmic noble. Rest assured, my people will approach this opportunity with the utmost sincerity and a desire to forge a mutually beneficial partnership. Tyloth's lips thinned, his gaze momentarily flitting towards his fellow nobles, who watched the exchange with a mix of cautious optimism and lingering unease. We shall see, human. The cosmic nobles do not take kindly to those who would seek to challenge our authority. Any sign of betrayal or deception will be met with swift and decisive action. The human warrior nodded, understanding the unspoken threat that lingered in Tyloth's words. I give you my word, cosmic noble, that my people will honor the terms of any alliance we establish. We seek not to undermine your authority, but to stand shoulder to shoulder with you as equals, working towards a future of prosperity and cooperation. Tyloth's expression remained guarded, but there was a glimmer of acknowledgement in his eyes. With a curt nod, he turned and strode back towards his fellow nobles, leaving the human warrior to ponder the momentous implications of this hard-won victory. For the first time in their storied history, the cosmic nobles had been forced to reckon with the true might of humanity, a realization that would forever change the course of the galactic landscape. As the human warrior watched the cosmic nobles depart, a sense of cautious optimism began to take root within him. The haughty extraterrestrials had been forced to reevaluate their long-held assumptions about the capabilities of humanity, and their begrudging acceptance of an alliance spoke volumes about the profound impact the warrior's triumph had made. Yet, the human knew that the path ahead would not be an easy one. The cosmic nobles, driven by their ingrained sense of superiority, would undoubtedly continue to view the humans with a measure of skepticism and mistrust. Any sign of perceived betrayal or deception would be met with swift and decisive action, as Tyloth had made abundantly clear. As the human warrior returned to Earth, his legendary feats preceding him, a wave of excitement and anticipation swept across the planet. The people of Earth had long dreamed of making their mark on the galactic stage, and now, with one of their own having shattered the cosmic noble's arrogance, that dream was poised to become a reality. The human warrior's story quickly spread, inspiring a renewed sense of pride and determination among his fellow Earthlings. They marveled at his resilience, his strategic brilliance, and his unwavering conviction in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. If one of us could accomplish such great things, the people whispered, then surely the rest of humanity is capable of even greater feats. And so a new era began to dawn, one in which the people of Earth, no longer content to be relegated to the shadows of the cosmic noble's domain, would reach for the stars and claim their rightful place in the galactic community. Behind the scenes, the human warrior collaborated closely with Earth's leaders, sharing the knowledge and insights he had gained during his confrontation with the cosmic nobles. Together, they began to chart a course that would pave the way for a productive and mutually beneficial alliance. The negotiations were not without their challenges, as the nobles' innate distrust and disdain for the primitive humans continued to pose significant obstacles. But the warrior's unwavering diplomacy, coupled with the growing respect and admiration of his fellow Earthlings, slowly chipped away at the nobles' defenses. Gradually, a new understanding began to emerge, one in which the cosmic nobles recognized the invaluable contributions that humanity could offer, and the humans, in turn, demonstrated a willingness to collaborate and learn from their galactic counterparts. As the alliance took shape, the people of Earth marveled at the technological and cultural exchange that began to flourish. Innovations from the cosmic nobles' advanced civilization were adapted and enhanced by human ingenuity, while the nobles themselves found themselves captivated by the resourcefulness and creativity of their new allies. The human warrior, now hailed as a hero among his people, became a central figure in this burgeoning partnership, serving as a bridge between the two vastly different civilizations. His diplomatic skills, combined with his newfound respect and understanding of the cosmic nobles, proved invaluable in navigating the delicate political landscape. In the years that followed, the alliance between Earth and the cosmic nobles' domain grew stronger and more prosperous, with both sides reaping the benefits of their collaboration. The once dismissive nobles now regarded the humans with a newfound sense of respect and appreciation, marveling at the rapid technological and cultural advancements that their partnership had enabled. For the people of Earth, the experience had been a transformative one, shattering the long-held perception of their species as insignificant and primitive. They had proven their worth on the galactic stage, and in doing so, had unlocked a future filled with endless possibilities. As the human warrior returned to his home planet, greeted by cheering crowds and a renewed sense of purpose, he knew that his journey had only just begun. The path ahead would be filled with new challenges and opportunities, but he was confident that the resilience and determination of his people would carry them to greater heights than ever before. In that moment, the human warrior looked towards the stars, his gaze filled with a sense of wonder and boundless ambition. For the future of humanity, once thought to be limited by the confines of their own world, now stretched out before them, a vast and limitless expanse waiting to be explored and conquered. And at the center of it all stood the human warrior, a symbol of the indomitable spirit of his species, a testament to the power of perseverance, the triumph of the underdog, and the unstoppable force of human potential.